Morning class. Today we would learn about the next organizational facility. It's called air conditioning, something that you're familiar with because we do enjoy sitting in an AC room, right? If classes only were in AC, you guys would have had very good attendance. So on that note, let's start. Air conditioning. Air conditioning is, a control mechanism which you can use through different machines. There is no natural air conditioning. There's only mechanical means of air conditioning. Unlike ventilation where you have natural and mechanical means, here it is only through mechanical means. So when you try to control certain things such as temperature, moisture, heat and all that through artificial means, as per the requirement in the room, we call it as air conditioning. Yes. For example, if the room is very hot, okay, would you raise the temp and okay, suppose I'm sitting in this room and it is very hot. There's no point in even opening the windows, not much air is coming. But I have a AC here. For example, I don't have one, but still if I have one and it's very hot, I want cold air. So I'm going to reduce the temperature of the AC so that it lets out cold air so that I will be comfortable. So depending on the situation, and when I have a mechanism to control the temperature, we call it as air conditioning. Okay, simply I can't control this temperature because I need an AC in the first place so that I can control it. So when I'm sitting in this room, I'm feeling very hot, I need some cool air. What do? I reduce the temperature of the AC so that I get cool air. Okay, for in the same way, it is very cold. Okay, it is in December, Jan, Feb, and way up in Delhi also, way too cold, right? So I'm shivering in this room. Would I reduce the temperature again so that it becomes more cold? No, I raise the temperature so that warm air flows in. Okay, so when I allow warm air to flow inside because I'm feeling very cold, I go for that form of air conditioning. So air conditioning is where you try to control the temperature, the moisture and everything through air conditioning so that I am comfortable. So as per my requirement, I can adjust the temperature. That is called air conditioning. Is it clear to you? Okay, let's go for it. Now, air conditioning was first used in 1904 in the United States. Early 1930s, it was used in India. We have two main establishments which used air conditioning. First was Gramophone Company Limited in Calcutta, Metro Cinema, Mumbai. Okay, so when you control your temperature, humidity, distribution, air purity through artificial means, we call it as air conditioning, like how I described. So as per the requirement of the person or the factory, let's now I talked about the individual aspect, let's talk about a factory. As per the requirement of the workers who are currently facing, what is the temperature issue that they are facing? Are they being are they feeling too hot or too cold? Based on that, I'll have to adjust the temperature. When I try to control aspects such as temperature, air quality, airflow and everything through artificial means in as per the requirement of the organization or of the factory, we call it as air conditioning. So read out the definition. The control of the relationship between certain characteristics of air such as temperature, purity, humidity, movement and distribution to the end that air will meet the requirement of a particular situation in a room or building. Read the definition, you will understand what I was talking about all the while. There are two main forms of air conditioning. I gave you an example when I feel too hot and too cold. So in summer, when I feel very hot, I want the temperature to be reduced so that in my AC, so that I get some cool air and I'm placed at a comfort level. It's too hot, I need some cool air. So I reduce the temperature. But in summer, but in winter, when I feel very cold, if I reduce further, I might, have a bad cold also. So what do? I raise the temperature so that now since I'm feeling very cold, when I need some warm air, I raise the temperature in that artificial machine so that I get some comfort. So depending on the season, you can adjust your air conditioning. This is what you call by winter air conditioning and summer air conditioning. I hope it is clear. Now, objectives. There are certain reasons as to why organizations go for AC. Now, in Western countries, this air conditioning, not Western countries, let's call it like the highly developed countries who end up, having a lot of expenditure on their factory and other organization, they don't mind giving AC to all the workers in the factory. By workers, we mean not just 5 or 6, we mean to 200 to 300 workers working in that particular factory. But for countries wherein we have other priorities, we won't call ourselves developing or less developed countries, no, but we are working towards a lot of sectors. So here in this aspect, when we find that it is very difficult to allocate any money to ensure air conditioning in all the factories in India, this might be a problem. Okay, now I'm not saying that none of the factories have AC. AC is more than a requirement in factories which deal in food processing, because if the temperature is very high or low, your food spoils. Okay, if you don't have the right temperature, the food gets spoiled. For example, your mom cooks you nice, like really good dal curry today, around noon. Okay, and she has prepared a huge quantity, so you're going to have the same curry for dinner. Now don't ask about chapati and rice, that's not of prominence. So let's say I make this dal curry, your mom makes this dal curry during lunchtime and says, okay, we'll have it for dinner also. She doesn't keep it in the fridge, she'll keep it outside only, close it, yes, keep it on the kitchen slab, and evening she might have to heat it. That's her choice, or she'll simply serve it like that. Okay, food tastes fine. But next morning, she plans to take this dal curry, even though it is had for dinner, there is some more. She plans to send it to you to school tomorrow, that is to college the next day for lunch. Do you think she'll keep it in the open? No. She'll keep it inside the fridge because she knows if I keep this food outside for more than 10 to 12 hours, food will get spoiled. This is why in those factories which produce food items and all that, they ensure air conditioning is there, because if they don't control the temperature, their food gets spoiled, the product gets spoiled. Is it clear to you? Yes? Okay. Now that is the general understanding. Now there are certain reasons or objectives or significance, or why do you need, see, all those questions are there within this. So why do we need air conditioning? First, protect workers' health. Now there are certain machines, certain equipments which give out a lot of heat. A lot of heat waves are being generated. So what do? Even though I cannot avoid the process. For example, there are industries which use some chemical, mechanical processes in their production. As a result, heat energy is always released. So what do? And I also understand that those gases which come out from the machines, it is affecting the health of people who are working near that machine. For example, respiratory issues, yes, allergies and all of them. Yeah. So when such dust and such pollutants are being released and factory workers are it's having a negative impact on their health, this is not going good for the company. What happens if all your employees are sick? They don't turn up for work. If they don't turn up for work, will production happen? No. Will my productivity increase? No. What happens? There would be a fall in my sales, revenue, profit. It's going to be a complete thing. Yes. AC might be a small thing in comparison to the profit that I'm looking at. Okay. But if I bring an AC and it maintains the health of the employees, I'll have work happening over there and it would lead to my profits. So if the firm ignores such small concepts or small things like AC, ventilation and all that, it affects the organization in the long term. So in order to protect the workers' health, you need air conditioning to raise workers' comfort level. You prefer a theater hall with AC rather than a usual hall with fans. This is your normal understanding. There might be certain people who like the other way, but your choice. So when employees feel that the environment has full on AC, you can be comfortable, enjoy and do your work. Not enjoy, maybe do their work in a more happy manner, because they are having nice ventilation, nice air conditioning. They can work in all, in this entire AC setup. They are happy to work in that place. Employees would not leave your organization because they know working environment, even though it is a factory, we have a good AC facility. Okay, now to secure specified temperature conditions, there are certain industries wherein you need to control the temperature. For example, what is humidity? The moisture content in the air. Now for textile industry, humidity is an issue. Okay, when you have humidity and you are being there, you feel that the air is too dry, there is less moisture. The thread which you use in the textile industry, that turns brittle, very hard, and it breaks off, which means you can't make anything from that thread. Okay, if the air is too dry, no moisture at all. But if the air is very humid, what happens? The final product, which is your cloth, absorbs the moisture and the cloth is very much soggy and it gets spoiled. Okay, so for certain industries like your textile industry, also your food and pharmaceutical industry, control of temperature is very important. If something goes wrong, it affects, like how I gave you an example right now. Now, to improve the quality of products like your pharmaceutical and all other products, in order, and all other perishable items such as your milk, for instance, if the temperature and AC is not maintained, the product gets spoiled. You would have to compromise on the quality. Is there any use for spoiled milk? Do we get spoiled milk in Nandini? Not with regard to the date of expiration, you have to check that. But otherwise, there's no use of spoiled milk. All you can do with it is make paneer, nothing else. So, in order to take care of goods such as your milk and other food products, it is very important to understand. Sorry. It is very important to understand that such products require a certain set of temperature conditions. If you don't follow that, the quality of the product would be gone. It would be compromised upon. Then product preservation, so these points are repeated. There are certain perishables such as meat, fish, eggs, and milk, wherein any contamination would destroy, would eliminate the good benefits of the product. It would compromise on the quality. Talking about the quality again, not just food industry, pharmaceutical industry. If a pharmaceutical involves a lot of chemical things, chemical reaction, those who have studied science would have a better understanding maybe. So if some wrong element is being added into that chemical process, you don't get the right quality of the medicine or of the drug. So what do we have to do? We have to ensure that there is no external unwanted particles in the air in the place where medicines are being produced in the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so there are certain industries like textile, your food processing, your pharmaceutical, wherein these pollutants or contaminants would have a huge role in spoiling that product. Rather, you should have mechanism such as AC to control the temperature. Reduce maintenance charges. We have learned that certain equipment, if it's exposed to certain humid air or maybe even water, it leads to corrosion. We used to call it as rust. We have all learned it, no? Rust. Yeah. If you dip a key in water for a long time, this happens as well. So we have a lot of plant and machinery in our factory, and if it is exposed to certain conditions like your air or water, and it leads to corrosion, it forms rust, and Even though maybe the lifespan of the machine is like 10 years, within 5 years all these damages happen, you have to throw out the machine and buy a new one, or you would have to repair the machine. Okay, in order to avoid corrosion, what can you do? You can control the temperature. If you control the temperature, what happens? The machine would have no corrosion issues, no rust issues for some period of time. So you can save upon the repair charge and maintenance. You don't have to do repair and maintenance. That machine would work smoothly for the next 10 years. Only if you provide things like AC and ventilation to control the temperature. Or else, if you don't provide all this, because of these exposures to wind and certain other conditions, your machines would get spoiled. You might have to pay a lot for the repairs. You provide the proper mechanism such as AC right from the start, no issue at all. Okay. Now improve employer relation. Like I mentioned, employees would love to work in a all AC working environment. Come on, if our classes were AC, it was easy to sleep, right? Yeah, so at a comfort level. So in a factory, when employees are given a comfort level, when they understand that they are being taken care of properly, what happens? They are ready to work. They work, production increases, productivity increases. When these two things which are closely related increases like anything, there is a huge increase in the profit, sales and revenue of the organization. So what they mean to say is, if the employer or the company gives benefits or facilities such as AC to the workers, workers work more because of the comfort level, and they once they work more, production increases, there is an increase in sales and thing, even the employer would be happy. So they have to just take care of this tiny things of such AC. Okay, AC can be installed, people work at a comfort level. In the long term, the organization is going to benefit from it. Now here you need to understand there are certain types of air conditioning. You have comfort or domestic air conditioning, industrial air conditioning. Comfort air conditioning or domestic air conditioning are those unit air conditioning. It's called unit air conditioning, wherein you would have it in your houses. Okay, those units such as the one shown in the picture given in houses, this is done to provide comfort to the members in that particular room or in that particular house. You have central AC facilities even for houses. In the European countries, people do this as well. Here also you find, but not everywhere. So domestic or comfort air conditioning are the air conditioning units placed in houses to provide comfort to people who are there in the room and also anywhere in the house. Second method is industrial air conditioning. Those are used in factories or different industrial establishment. So what do? They take this AC, they place it in a room. It would be a huge machine. They'll place it in a room. They lock the room. Okay. Then what do? They fix a lot of pipes and ducts all across the area of the factory. Okay. Then they switch on. So I'm just giving it in an animated way, not animated, in a sequential way. So when I click on the button, that AC room which is locked up, the machine is on, cool air is being released, it goes through all those pipe and duct and everyone, and there are certain vents which release that air, like how it's shown in the picture. You see that huge pipe, then you see this pipe which is facing downwards, which has a passage there. So air is passed from that server room, from the central room, through these pipes and ducts, and finally air comes here. So industrial air conditioning, the way it works is to provide comfort to workers, maybe 200 or 300 workers who are working presently in that organization, by having one AC in the server room or in the central room, locking it up, and then connecting pipes and different duct with vent so that cool air can be scattered everywhere in the factory. This is the difference between domestic air conditioning and industrial air conditioning. Industrial air conditioning are of two types: partial air conditioning and complete air conditioning. Like how the word means, in the factory, if there are only certain machines which require this control of temperature by providing AC, you would find the AC duct and vent only in those areas. So if you're just you're providing AC facility only on the left side of the factory, only in the left side, and for the workers who are working only in the left side, we call it as what? Partial cooling system. Okay. When you plan to provide AC to all the people or the entire span of the factory, we call it complete air conditioning. For example, you walk into a bank. Okay, but now banks everywhere, you find air conditioning in all the places, so the entire area is cool. But for certain old offices, the place where you have the cashier and all the clerks and everywhere, there may be some now AC is provided, but earlier it's just fans, that's it. But you see the manager's room, that cabin, that has AC. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So when you give AC only in certain areas, we call it as partial air conditioning within that establishment or within that concern. But if you provide AC throughout the area, we call it as complete air conditioning. Okay, this is the end of air conditioning. There are two more to go, and then we are done with the chapter. See you all. Have a happy weekend. Meet you on Monday. Please answer the MCQs after this video. Thank you.